Let's go, let's go, let's go. Sikhalile insimbi. Hello guys, come through. Let's see you. Are you here? Can you hear me? We ready to start? Please signal if you can hear me, and then we get on with business as usual. Hello guys, are you here? Are you there? Are you there? Can you hear me? Joseph Lebo, can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can.
Yes. All right. We're just waiting for people to comment if they can hear us, so that we get on. We don't want to start and then the next thing people are not hearing us. Please signal, guys, if you can hear us. Can you hear us, guys? Let's go, guys. Are you there, guys? Can you hear me? Okay, people are just busy taking each other, so they're not saying anything. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. We are here. We are ready. Thanks to Crotchet, Basilia, LT Branding, Ocrio, or online radio. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. We are grateful to be here today. The Lord is still taking care of us during this time. Lebza, how are you doing? How was your day?
I'm doing great, man. I had a quite chilled day. Yeah, been on a trampoline with my son, so I'm tired. It's forcing me to play, man. Like it doesn't get it that I'm tired.
Yeah.
But yeah, all is well, man. All is well. Yeah.
Josie, how are you doing? How's your day?
I'm good. Living by grace. My day was simple. Spotlight. I think. Yeah. I'm learning high school mathematics and physics. That's yeah, but it's not as bad as it was when I did it. How many years ago? A long time ago. 16 years ago, I think. It's changed a little bit, but it's pretty cool.
All right. Go see, how are you? I know you are in the States, so how's everything that side, my brother?
I know my day was Fine, I just was busy with work. Yeah, nothing much.
Yeah, states go right, yonke into kuhleli kahle. Bafethu ngingitshela uAron wenzani. uAron wenzani bafethu ngingitshela. All right. All right, let's get on with it. So, Bahlali Makaya, we see you. We thank you for coming through. We see you all our international friends and local. Nalabangale kwamphesheya komthatha, we see you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, today we want to take it easy and talk about a subject that is quite a vibe. This thing has been there for quite some time, and I picked it up quite early in my years of production, and not just production, as a keyboard player. The issue of relationships. The issue of relationships. It's quite a sensitive one, honestly. It's quite a sensitive one because when I came in, I remember there used to be a vibe around clangs or people that are saying, "But no, we are from Mpumalanga. We don't work with people from Gauteng," and "Oh no, we are from Durban. Oh no, we are from Cape Town. We don't work with people from Joburg," and all of that. So there's always people from Venda as well, our capital city. People are saying, "No, we don't work with people from Gauteng," and the question is. We want to get into that type of a discussion today. It's quite a sensitive one, and this discussion will be driven by you guys, as to what it is that you've been observing from far, even if you are not in the music industry and whatnot. But just before we start, we just want to say thank you, guys. We have about 724 likes on our Facebook page. Thank you so much for that. For those who are with us, can you please invite more people? We really need to see these numbers growing to your 30s, to your millions. And we have 232 followers on Instagram. Guys, come on, you can invite more. And we've got 55 subscribers now on our YouTube page. So please, guys, let's invite more people. We just want to say thank you again. Thank you so much for those who are following us on all those platforms. We just request that, guys, you invite more people so this thing can grow and be exposed to other people, and so forth and so forth. So let's get on to that discussion and hear what is happening. I don't want to share my experience because it's quite a sensitive one for me. Let me start with you guys. I know you've had your own experiences, how issues of relationships, artists when they book, they want other people that you don't want, and or they're introducing you to some people that you don't want to work with. And since I know that we've spoken about on the previous episode, we did speak about who's calling the music, who's choosing the musicians, and it was clear enough that we are the ones that are choosing musicians. But we'll always find ourselves in that very sticky situation where the artist is not fully persuaded to use the people that you want to work with. In fact, let me follow that up with a question that was asked. Actually, Aaron, do you have that question?
No, I don't have it with me. Yeah.
Okay, you don't have it with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a question that came through just after our broadcast. I'm just looking. Oh, yeah. So this is from Leisure Wisani. I can't see your surname because this is from Leisure Wisani Lekuleni. So he says, hola guys, how do we deal with it if you are bringing people that I don't want to work with due to personal reasons or previous experiences? Example, poor work ethic, poor conduct, drinking and smoking during rehearsals, lack of professionalism, who's supposed to oh, that's full stop. Who's supposed to compromise between me and you? Because I believe that as much as you are a producer, but you're producing my project, and we should both be happy at the end of it all. Lebza, relationships. Put this together and this question. Uh, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
I wasn't saying anything yet.
Oh, okay. Do you want to jump into this and let us know what you think? What are your thoughts around uh, relationships?
Can you pass it to Apostle Bishop? So Apostle Joe, that
I knew it is a very sticky one. No one would want to answer this. Josie, hook us up, brother, with a nice response there.
Oh, wow, relationships. It's a big one. I have a theory. It's untested, but I think our highest calling in this life is a calling to relationships, and it's a relationship with God and relationship with man. And if you flourish in the one and fail in the other, you're not doing well. Because I think something a friend of mine usually points out is that when God put Adam in Eden, every task he was doing, he was nailing it on the highest level. Like name animals, he just does it without an effort. Look after the garden, not a problem. But even when he was that effective, God wasn't impressed. It's like, no, it's not good for him to be alone. So there's a sense in which I think our highest call is going to be a call to managing relationships, because our highest currency is actually not our money and it's not our assets, but our biggest currency is our relationships. So I think that's what makes it complicated, because I think some of the most successful people in the world that are succeeding in many things tend to struggle in that one thing, because it's the biggest one to manage. It's easier to manage the chords, because when I'm dealing with chords, they don't change. They're consistent. When I'm dealing with a song, it responds to how I'm feeling. But when I'm dealing with people, I'm dealing with their past experiences, I'm dealing with their expectations, I'm dealing with their issues. It's like, so it makes the whole experience pretty sophisticated, because at some point there are going to be disagreements. At some point there's going to be all these clashes. So I think I'm saying a lot to make a very small point. And here's the point. I think in our attempt to be effective, whether you are the artist, whether it's the producer, or you're a session musician, or anything you are in that whole production life cycle, you have a responsibility to make sure that you handle your relationships well. And unfortunately, that doesn't mean you'll be exempted from having conflict. So you will at some level have conflict with someone for many different reasons. Some people have conflict because you couldn't pay them properly, or some have conflict because they were not paid on time. Some have conflict because of false information. Actually, you can just have a rumor spoken. Somebody can just tell me that, hey, you know what Lebo said about you, and it's like, now we are fighting, we're no longer friends, and you find that he doesn't even know. And some conflicts can be that somebody took somebody's girlfriend. There's conflict is inevitable. Jesus said that offenses are bound to be there. But I think we have a responsibility, in a sense, to go out of our way to manage our relationships so effectively, such that they don't get in the way of the main thing, which is the production we are putting together. So, and in a scenario like the one that Leisure has put forward, it's a reasonable thing to think about, because at the end of the day, it's like something you said a couple of times, Thabethe. The production is not simply the music, it's the gel we have, the interactions we have. So if we want to walk into this rehearsal room and you have booked me, but I've had an issue with the artist you've booked, the flow will not work. And if the flow is not working, it doesn't matter how much excellence is there in the execution, but music is emotions, music is feelings. So if the gel is not there, then it's a bit of a problem. So I guess in that instance, I would attempt to compromise to an extent, but it also depends on how reasonable the conflict actually is, because sometimes the person who doesn't want the next person, their reasons are not worthy of us making too many adjustments. It's just a case of, can we work it out as mature people and move forward? But yeah, a lot can be said, but I think for now, that's what I could contribute. We do have a high responsibility to manage our relationships and to manage them well. And you cannot avoid conflict, but we also cannot live life constantly in loggerheads with people.
Yeah, I think my biggest challenge that I've faced, Kakulu, when it comes to that is 80% of the time you find that the reason is very lame, and it's a very weak reason why the other person doesn't want to work with a certain person that I am trying to book, right? And and then when I check, it would probably be an issue, a money issue, that he was paid before, he never pitched for the gig, or he pitched late for a rehearsal or a gig and whatnot. And then when I check, I have never had that experience with that person. I have never had those issues before. When I've booked him, when I booked him before, he's always on time, and you find that now with other people, they have a different experience. There's a comment here which is quite long. Let me read it. Let me read it quickly. This is from Rifuo Neville Ngobeni. I don't think the issue of clans are a problem at the moment. I think the issue is what you guys mentioned on the previous episode, where all of you guys indicated that you prefer bringing your own bands regardless of the fact that an artist might have certain musicians they would want to be part of their project, and in most cases these young capable cats are reshuffled, and we are more likely to see the same faces on almost all projects. Now, my question is, how does a young musician unknown coming from some village in Limpopo break out in such an industry? What's your take on that?
I'm a young musician from Limpopo.
And you are a young musician from Limpopo as well.
This is quite interesting because a while ago, right before I went mainstream, I used to have a feeling that people in mainstream book people by name, and the rest of us competent people on the bottom of the barrel don't get an opportunity, even if we can kill it on the same level. And I think most people tend to feel like that. But once you have an opportunity to interact with musicians at a certain, who are mainstream, musicians who get booked a lot, one of the things you will discover very quickly is that they don't get booked because they're famous. They are famous because they're effective. And so I think one of the things that people should not overlook is that the reason why you see the same faces over and over again is because one, in a production, you're trying to maximize on quality in as little amount of time as possible, because the more you add time, the more you're adding expense. So you want maximum quality with very little time requirements. And generally, people who are mainstream have found a way to master that art. And so unfortunately, you kind of have to go through the long, arduous process of not getting the recognition you feel you deserve, but being effective in that arena. And as you keep growing in your effectiveness, there's no way that somebody won't pick you up. It's like what Pastor Xoli said, that God won't want, for every gift, there's an opportunity. And so there's a sense in which you might feel like, I can play it exactly the way Lebo plays it, because you transcribed all the songs he's played. And it's like, and you've heard all the productions he's done, and you can easily follow without effort. But you don't know all the technicalities that go into why we keep calling him and nobody else. And so I don't think it's a case of, unfortunately, it's just hard to see when you're far from it. It's not a case of the fact that people are booked because they are famous. People are booked because they are bringing something quite significant. They know they know the things that matter to a production. And unfortunately, when you're not always in the center of it, you think the things that matter is the number of chords you have in your library, or the number of chops you have in your drumming library, or how clean your runs are. But you then learn very quickly that there's a reason why people keep calling the same BV to every production. People keep calling the same board player, and all these things. So yeah, it takes time to figure it out, but before you will experience it. And when you do, it, unfortunately, other people are going to start accusing you of calling the same people once you get into that space. But you would have learned something about that space that makes you realize that, oh, this is why they keep calling this guy.
Okay, I'm seeing other
Thabethe?
comments. Yes, yes, you want to jump in? Can you jump in,
Yeah,
Lebo?
I want to comment on something that the three of us have done previously. As people are busy saying, we are booking the same people over and over again. I think what we would do usually is, on some gigs whereby we would see maybe the gig does not require a lot, we would try someone. I mean, I had a conversation with you recently whereby there's a keyboard player we wanted to book, just so that we can see if that person we can start working with going forward, because we've noticed that he's gifted, but we haven't experienced him personally. We could only hear him from a distance when he works with other people, and even the same with bass players. I mean, there's a particular bass player that I would tell people about, that, hey guys, this bass player has something that I think we need to explore. If I remember, I used to tell even Joseph, and that bass player, we work with him as well, Xoli Thabethe. We
Yeah.
did shows with, yeah. And we tried him as well because of that thing. Or let's try this one for this show. If it works out, then we can start recommending him onto other couple of shows. And
Yeah.
that's how we would normally introduce people. But obviously, we try to maximize, to involve particular musicians on bigger projects that we know there's going to be time constraints and budget allocations, whereby we can't risk saying, hey, here's a new guy, and a new guy is coming in on this big project, and we already know this person doesn't have any experience. So we would rather get that particular gig that we know anyone can manage, any upcoming musician can manage. If they manage from there, obviously, they go to the next level. It's like TV game.
Yeah.
So I think that
Yeah.
makes sense for you.
Okay.
If you're faithful
Guys,
with the little.
yeah. If you're faithful a little, you. Okay, guys. This is why I always request that we send our questions and earlier, and or send them to our inboxes so that we are able to trace the ones that are within our topic, because I feel like we've just moved slightly a bit. We are on tribalism. We are on just relationship, basically. That's where we are today. Um, and how do we solve it? Because I can tell you now, I have experienced this, Mina, when I came in, that there was that division where even though people are not saying it to my face, obviously, but you could feel the vibe that um, um, it's they would rather have someone from their hometown than to have me on board as a keyboard player now. And now that Nami, I have an opportunity now to produce, I start looking for people from my hometown, and at that time I didn't have a lot. But now I have you, I have the two of you, I have other people that are there already. So kune vibe that is there. So I'm just putting it out there. Not that I care about me. I mean, I just look at the skill. I just look at the skill. If the skill is good, let's work. And if the attitude is right, character and whatnot is good, so we work. So my biggest issue now is tribalism. Have you seen it? Have you noticed it? How do you feel about it? And across the board. But I know that others find themselves in a very sticky situation where in their maybe hometown or their province, they don't have a hot drama, but they have maybe hot keyboard players, or they don't have a hot guitarist. Now they look for the guitarist from the other uh, uh, um, provinces. But now, my question, I'm going back to my question. Have you guys experienced this over the times that you've been working? And I know with you, Joseph, is tricky because most of your career, actually, you've been booking people as opposed to just belonging as a keyboard player, you know. So, Lebs, how's your experience? You've done a lot of gigs with different tribes, Lion of Judas. So I want to know what uh, how how do you feel?
Sure.
And I think not just only bookings as well. I think not just only bookings as well to say we will book you only because I'm just saying even relation wise, off stage and whatnot. Um, uh, Gospel musicians are tricky. Gospel musicians are tricky. Let's just put it out there. Gospel musicians are tricky.
Hey man, yeah, I think here for me, I never felt it that much because um, my my earliest when I got into the industry, the first person that introduced me to music production, he's from a different province altogether, and we're speaking two different language. I speak Tswana, he's Zulu. You know, I found the guys welcoming at first. The first guy that introduced me, and that was in the house and secular music, obviously, and I got to work with the guys nicely. And then I got into gospel, Bazalwane. Oh my God. There was a time I felt like, hey, maybe I need to just go back to my secular vibes, do my house and hip hop vibes, you know, because I felt the tribalism hard. So there's a booking I got. I think that was in 2012 or 2013, a big project. And when I got booked, I'm getting booked in a project whereby, if I remember very well, I was the only person, I was the only Tswana speaking person, and I was the only person coming from Pretoria, you know. And the person that booked me told me straight, it's like, hey man, I'm already getting calls. People are not happy with the fact that I booked you. And I'm like, why? Because who are those people? Like, yeah, mostly because you're from Pretoria, you are a Tswana guy from Pretoria. And hey, yeah, already these people they're feeling wasn't there anyone from this particular another province that we could get, you know. But his response to the people that were asking him all these questions, he said, if I need something in a production and that particular thing is in vendor, why do I have to compromise, and or is in Venda, or is in Farm Pumalanga, or is in Northwest? Why do I have to compromise and say, let me just get someone from my tribe, even if that person doesn't have that particular thing? Do you hear?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm hearing.
So yeah. So now the main thing above all now is that the only way to break that thing now was what are we looking for? Are we looking for individuals from a particular tribe, or are we looking for a product, a particular product? And if that product is in a particular area, let's go out and get it from that particular area without putting any boundaries of culture and tradition. And I think for me that was the best way to look into it, because even with me now, when I book people now based on the product that I'm putting together. If the person that has that one thing, it's somewhere in a different province, I will get that person. And I've done that to try and break that whole tribalism thing, even though I have experienced it badly. And I mean, even in a workspace, they would make me feel that, hey Baba, you don't belong here, you know. They first start with the language, knowing that you don't understand the language. I felt it. No one is there to interpret, Baba, and you know. But I guess over time it started changing, you know. So at the moment, I'm just contributing to my part to making sure that we don't have that in the next couple of years. Yeah.
Guys, we are waiting for your comments. Have you seen it? Have you noticed it? Have you heard about it? Let's tackle it. I have used Divine Michel on my band. He's from Eldos, that area, that side. He's from Cape Town. I have played with
He's not
Monet.
from Cape Town.
He's not, but I'm saying he's colored. He's
Okay.
from
Yeah.
Johannesburg, far west. I have worked with Peter, who's from another tribe now outside the country. I have been working with pretty much everyone. Tsepo is from the Val. Um, uh, uh, okay, Lebo's from my hometown. Bega is from Durban. Um, yeah, so there's always been that mix, but I have realized that so this discussion today, I think this thing needs to they're just close to each other, the tribalism and I think just relations within us and
May I
artists.
ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think if you had if you had a bigger pool of musicians from Siabuso to choose from, would you not be a victim of the same issue? I say this to say, is it always an outcome of tribalism, or is it an outcome of access to the people that you are trying to work with? So in a way, if I'm doing a production, you're likely to find keyboards, you're likely to find Lebo, or you're gonna find Gamma. It's like a general possibility. You're probably gonna find Sabu playing drums, or Peter, or Lulu. It's like, yeah, and then bass you find Mabena or Bega. It's like there's a pattern that for me, in addition to their skill level, is also influenced by my capacity to access them. Of course, there has been instances where I do the best I can to break out of the access. Like I remember when I first started playing with Legan, uh, he didn't even know me. I called Cloney to ask for his number, and it was just a long lengthy. And when I called him, he hadn't done gospel gigs in a while. So when he came to rehearsal, he didn't think it's a gospel gig until the first song. It's like, oh yeah, I didn't know this is. But for the most part, the biggest reason is accessibility. So do you think it's tribalistic, or do you think it's the fact that I can access you and you can play it?
I think i-tricky man, i-tricky. The answer makes me keep an eye. I-tricky. So I need to find a way that is nicer to say it as well. But I feel like Gakulu is more the issue of access. If you remember the other on the previous episodes, I said it's all about the relationship and the friendship and people checking you all the time. So it's always that thing. So the last person I spoke to would probably be the first person I book. Or if I'm looking for singers, did you greet this week or whatever? It's always about that. With Ish, no, we were yabo. it has always been that, Guti. It's who's close, and or you check from the previous project you did or a gig. I just say, we did a gig with these guys. Let me just check them quick. Hey guys, are you still there? Or if you find that I still have the group chat, your previous gig, and I just go back there. Guys, are you available for the next gig? Ganja, 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 ganja. And it's always like that, you know. So and then layer tribalism, I think it's more of my homeboys calling to say, Ishman, I'm can you hook me up with something? Then yeah, but that's when I sort of like, yeah, no, let me just hook him up with something and whatnot. So, but yeah, with me and people from my my village, um, most of them, they just came out big. You know, they just came out doing big things. So I there's few of them that I had to probably introduce them to any other person. I mean, Tsegofatso came out. Grum, we did like two. I think I did a recording with him with Spoop Banda. I did a recording. That's where I called him for that one. And then after that, boom, he's rocking up with AKAs and all of that. And the other guys, they just rocked up. I met them later. And Kalul, what's his name? I forgot his name. Kalul came nice. Guitar. Um, there's too many of them from my hometown that just became like worked with big artists, so they didn't really need a push from my side. But look, Yona, it's there. Uh, um, um, I was once told, actually, I was once told, very good, yeah, you know, we are only booking you because the guys from our province are still in the college. They're not really. They are busy. They are not around. Yeah, well, I was told straight with no. We are booking you because you are accessible and you are here and you have a car. Yeah, well, I was like, tricky. And very when they came, and they're hot, very. I mean, they really they played. I mean, you could hear the difference. But yeah, no, I think being closer, cool. I was too much. I was more of a friend. So hence then the Lord opened other doors, you know, that separated me. But now, okay, let's move a bit from the tribalism, because I think political now discussion. Let's go right there. Relationships. I'm the artist. You bringing a list of people. I don't want to work with Lebu, and Lebu is in your list, and I don't want to work with so and so. I don't want to work with Divine because he's colored, or I feel like he's too quiet. I want Tepo because I saw him do a line for Obrigado, and I want that line here. Yabo, how do you deal with those issues? Because you guys are booking musicians now. Lebza?
Yeah, hey, I'm trying to think of what I've experienced, but I realize I have not experienced something like that.
Yeah. Where are you saying where the artist is disagreeing with the people that you want to work with?
Yeah, like I think from that first meeting that I always talk about, that we were talking about actually last week, that you put everything on the table before, like at the word go, you know. Most of all the basically most of the projects that I've done, it was always the client putting their trust in me, you know. And then there was the one time whereby actually mentioned the sound engineer. I told my client, I'm like, yeah, I'm also gonna bring an engineer by this particular name. It's like, ish, yeah, ne. Hey, that guy, man. Do you trust him? I'm like, yeah, I trust him. It's like, what? And I asked them what happened, and like Joseph was saying, sometimes, and you said it. Sometimes you find it's a lousy explanation that caused the grudge, you know. And then I said to them, I said to my client, look, this person works with me most of the time, and whenever I work with this person, they have never disappointed me, and they've always done everything right. So I don't know if any of this will be involved. Any of this part that you are talking about will be a part of what we're gonna do now. So at the moment, put your trust in me rather. Don't look at all these people that I'm bringing. Believe in the product that I'm gonna give you, along with these people that you probably thinking, hey, they will give problems. So I think it goes back to the thing of the client putting more trust on the producer.
Yeah. Okay. I've noticed this on TV as well. That that there are bookings and if something isn't, I mean, let's just put it out there. I mean, I know that there are issues around that. I mean, let's look at the Crown Gospel. Most of the time, you find that the band and the choir they are from their from that province, and I understand that most of the time that some of those things are coming from the municipalities as well to say, look, we need to empower the people from our province, and now in Pumalanga, I don't know the names of the other ones that in Pumalanga as well. I've noticed that they were using people from Pumalanga as well. I'm not sure whether that is it coming from the offices that are sponsoring the events as well. Maybe Sipokaleni, if he's here, he will jump in and just clarify on that one. um, uh, but I know that some municipalities obviously and their arts and cultures their departments from that side would say, look, you can't have other people from other provinces to come here and work and take the money when the people from this district they are hungry. So that has been an issue. Uh, it's tricky, man. It's tricky. It's tricky. It's tricky. Uh, Josie, closing comments on this discussion?
Look, I think humans have a capacity to be segregatory generally. We just use different lines of division. Some people, because they are Christians, they don't associate with non-Christians. Others, because they are Pedi speaking, they only associate with other Pedi people. Even though I don't think Pedi people do that a lot in our defense. But yeah, there's always some degree to which we subdivide each other. Because now, I think now the issue of because even though we've been saying that province, I think we're all talking about KZN. But I think now it's no longer a big thing. But now we have other new subdivisions that are there. But I saw they're also dying because there used to be a joyous subdivision. So if people came from joyous, they would work with people who exclusively have done stuff in joyous. And again, I still feel it was due to accessibility. It's not really because they don't want to work with whatever. But people find ways, man, to disqualify you to work on their production for many different reasons. I still have a lot of people who tell me that I don't do African music. I don't know why they say that about me because I feel it's unfair. Because I've been trying the best I know, and I love South African music. By the way, it's just that I got known doing other things. But I mean, done a lot of work with May and we were doing African stuff and a lot of other people. But there's always something that somebody's gonna say to disqualify you from being a part of whatever it is. And some of them it's built from a place of not liking you from a distance, and others it's built from a place of not having access to you and not knowing how to start the conversation. But I think as a way of us trying to move forward, always challenge yourself to do something that makes you grow in your capacity to handle relationships. And that would mean always challenge yourself to start a new conversation with someone new, probably every month if you can. Challenge yourself to resolve a conflict that you've had with someone for many years. If somebody has said a rumor about you, challenge yourself to just calling them and clearing the air and asking, oh, yo, man, I heard you did this or you said that. But always try the best you can to challenge yourself to handle your relationships better. Because at the end of the day, the ultimate test of your effectiveness is not going to be the things you put out, but it's going to be how you handle the relationships that we're putting you. I mean, the eschatological passage, Matthew, where Jesus is making judgment between the sheep and the goat. And he says, "Depart from me, you workers of iniquity." And he doesn't say because you were prostituting or because you were fornicating. He says, because I was hungry and you didn't feed me, and because I was naked and you didn't clothe me. And he says, if you didn't do it to the least of these, you were not doing it to me. And I think the true test of our effectiveness is not how big the churches are going to be or how much our productions are going to sell or how much people are going to remember you, but it's going to be how we handle relationships. So I think let's get over our subdivisions, man. Let's move on from the things that separate us and focus on the things that unite us, especially at such a time like this. Let's make more friends. Add a new friend to your circle every second month, just for the vibe. I think that would be my recommendation.
Yeah. Lebza, conflict resolution.
Yeah, I think honesty is the one thing that we all need in this to get by, really, like Joseph was saying. I think all I'm doing now is just agreeing with what he was saying. And if I feel there's a particular musician I'm not in good terms with, I think I will need to put it on my shoulders to go and try and fix things, and also there are things, guys, that really we don't need to have a conflict over. Really, there are things that we don't need to, I mean, I remember there was a time a particular musician was really not happy with me because I booked them for a gig. In fact, the gig that they asked me to book them for, like, they're like, "Hey Baba, I saw you're doing this gig, man, can you put me into this gig?" I'm like, "Hey, my brother, I already have a person for this. Like, please, bro, let's do this." I'm like, "Okay, sharp, let's do this." And then we did the event. After we did the gig, the client didn't pay us. Now, when the client doesn't pay us, I get like a lot of fireballs from this particular musician, and I think for about 2 3 months. And now he was really angry at me that I didn't pay him, and I'm trying to explain to him that the client did not pay, and there's even proof that the client did not pay. But now you realize, that's when I realized that now this guy has taken the whole thing more personal between me and him. And as a result, in that space, I couldn't even work with him because he's against it. He's against now the whole thing. Or, hey, this guy, you're gonna book me and you won't pay me, and stuff like that. And funny enough, with me, I still later on I decided, you know what, I'm gonna reach out to this guy. Firstly, what I did, I paid him with my own money to just to clear the air. And then later on, I said to him, "My brother, when I book you, there's gigs that whereby it would be my money, and there's gigs whereby it's the client paying. So let's have that understanding. So if we are able to have this kind of discussions going forward, and that transparency going forward, to avoid all these kind of conflicts, I think that will help. And obviously, yeah, I think both parties, let the transparency be on both parties.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I feel
yeah,
on the tribalism vibes. I experienced it mina kakhulu firsthand, yeah. So, and how I think God made it to work for me was that later on, obviously, I was exposed into directing as well and producing. Then I got to be in a seat where I book people, as opposed to just being booked for other recordings and whatnot. So, but like Joseph said, I think what I ended up doing was to look beyond out was to look beyond that clang thing and just look at the talent and say, look, if this guy is talented and he's coming into my band, he's not just making himself, he's not just exposing himself, but now we are working together into making this thing a beautiful production. So I don't mind booking them. And obviously I started working with different people, Not that before that I was working with other people, but I'm just saying I had to be strong and to say if I want to really sound good as a producer, and I needed to find people who can interpret my ideas. And unfortunately, it was talented people, so I forgot about where they come from and who they are and whatnot. Then I started booking just everyone, whoever is available, and then whoever has got a problem with me is either going to say no, I'm not available, but others had a nerve to tell the artist that yeah, no, I don't want to work with Xolo Thabethe cool or wenzani, yabo. I've experienced those issues as well, and I dealt with those artists, and unfortunately now they realize that numbers don't lie. So to an extent that following projects they decided not to book me, and they booked those people that were claiming to be more professional than me, and numbers didn't match up. And it's okay. He got his lesson as well. So my take is, let's you I think as a producer or as a music director, as you're going to book people, look for the people that would really enhance your craft, and as well make your client as happy as possible. Give them whatever that they are paying for. Obviously, let it balance, let it align. So I think we just need to find a way to end that thing. But there's another one that has just picked up, and I understand Nakona. I think it goes with age group as well. It has to do with age group that obviously the younger cats would want to book their age groups and all of that, and they're comfortable, they're happy with that. So I think it's, yeah, we need to, some of us need to accept that maybe it's no longer our time in terms of other things, maybe gigs and performing and all of that. Let's give it to the young guys as well, and just open up room for them as well. If I get a production, let me book someone to come and be the music director who's younger, and bring his friends. If they're all solid and I'm feeling that the energy is there, let them just work on the production. Let me just do the production, let them do the music. So I think it's just this clang thing is still there, and unfortunately, but it will, it's sort of like fading, because more to now it's going more towards talent, as to if this guy is very talented, then you see that later on people now are friends with these guys and all of that. So let's give each other a chance, guys. Let's give each other a chance. And again, I think to respond to the question that is hanging, the one that says, how do we give the other young people who are not exposed an opportunity? Obviously, I remembered something, that when Michael Jackson was about to do the that last show, This Is It. I mean, the whole entire band was most of them, they were still alive. Some of it, obviously, they passed on. Some of them, they are no longer working with each other and whatnot. So what was beautiful, he said, he just posted that if you are talented, actually he did auditions on YouTube, and she found a girl from Australia who was just playing guitar, and was given the chance. And I think that girl as well, when they checked her YouTube, she had videos of herself playing. She exposed herself. She tried to put her talent out there. I think as well, that's where the issue would be now, to say, look, we understand that there are people who are talented, but they're not visible. They're not visible because we don't see them, we don't know about them, and unfortunately, when we start doing a production, it's not the time for me to start auditioning people. I really want to work and move on to the next project. I can't be auditioning people. It's time for me to work. So people should just do videos, tag wherever you can tag, expose yourself. Let's see your talent if you are there, and then so that when those opportunities come, then we can give you an opportunity. That's the and then another wing as well. In a discussion layer, it's got too many wings on it, another discussion as well, that Sia sent me something. It says grudges, misappropriate of funds, non-payments reduced or delayed, misinformation, gossip are the most common glitches in the music industry. My take would be, let's restore the gospel industry with biblical ethics. Let's make integrity the backbone on our relationships again, irrespective of whether one is an upcoming artist or seasoned. Lastly, let's consider the young and upcoming ones on a critical mentoring as ministers outside the scope of the politics with the gospel industry. I think to jump into that misappropriation of funds, I think that one goes to that story that I told. We pulled out and there was issues. Those type of things are happening based on experience as well. To say so many of other people that are not known and they're calling themselves gospel promoters. Then you find when it's time for payments, now people disappear. And now I've invited a band to come here and play. Now they want their money from me. Now it looks like as if I chout the money, and all of that. All those things have been just issues of experience of integrity. Integrity, I think, is the key thing, to find that someone would agree to pay people, and the next thing, and again another wing right there, the issues of gate taking, people doing shows depending on gate takings, and then people don't show up, and then mali isapheleli, there isn't enough money to pay everyone, then the guy disappears, and then the music director is left with not paying the band members, and then the band members, they talk bad about him, they spread the rumors, and then now I don't get the bookings again. I think that's still part of all of that. It's a collective of things, but again, what the tribalism one, that one, guys, it's uncalled for. Let's just scratch that out. It doesn't work. Let's look for the talent. This is for all the young producers and some producers that are still having that maybe in their heads. It's all about talent. Let's look for fresh talent. If you are talented, let's go for it. And someone mentioned that there are gate takers. There I don't know, gate, not gate takers. Was it gate whatever? There's a word that he used, that people are blocking other people.
Gatekeepers.
Gatekeepers. Sorry, I think I'm thinking too many things. Gatekeepers now. I don't know of those gatekeepers, my brother. I think what I can say is we always look for the talent, and let's not confuse that. I think again, you have to promote yourself, unfortunately. And this thing of this saying, yeah, hey, yeah, no, I'm just trying, my brother. I think it confuses a whole lot of things, because we're not sure whether you're talented or not when we ask you. So the gatekeepers, if you've experienced that where they've closed you and whatnot, I know that it happens on the high level, radio level, TV level. I know that happens where they block you. Other record labels, they block you when the relationship is no longer good, and blah 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 blah. But at this level, Yama musicians and booking producers and all of that, I have never experienced that. But I don't know if that still happens. So I think there's a question that came in now. There's a question that came in. Guys, we're closing this discussion. There's something that we want to talk about, and then we close today's broadcast. The question is, how do we make the relationship work between the old musicians with the younger ones? All singers with the younger ones. Josie?
That's a good one. I actually have been having a desire to find a bridge in that space, but I don't know how to fully do that. But I think again it's an effort thing, because sometimes I think we kind of like shifting blame to say, and I don't even know which musician I am. I don't know if I'm the older one or the younger one. I think by age I'm older, by experience not as much, because I've only started to like not doing significant things not too long ago. But the thing is, there's always that challenge of I think the younger ones feel like the older ones are closing them out, like like the questions that they were asking, and obviously the older ones feel like the younger ones they think they're killing it, so they just want to leave them there in their space. But I think it's going to be effort, intentionality. Like in my case, I seem to not be doing too badly with vocalists lately, and ever since we started the movement, the Worship Coalition, where we're trying to reach out specifically to unknown musicians that have a heart of worship, to kind of try put together a platform for them to explore that part of their ministry. Uh, the Lord has graciously opened a lot of doors for us to interact with musicians that are really just getting in the industry much younger, like around your early 20s. And yeah, so in the voices space, there has been that opening. In the band space, I have been attempting to get in there, but it's not really opening up as quickly as I would like to. But there's a couple of new friends that I'm making that are much younger than I am that are still starting out. But at the heart of it, it's going to be a collective effort on both parties. Like you were saying, Xoli, that on the one hand, some people are going to say, uh, you guys are closing us out. You're only calling the same people, but none of them are also putting in the effort to make themselves known. And I think just not to be too defensive of the both of you, I think you Xoli and Lebo have been, as far as I've seen, have been intentional in identifying gift at the lowest level, at the most rudimentary level, and creating opportunities for them. And I've seen you guys do it over repeated times. And I think you guys really deserve a commendation for that. Uh, I, I've seen it. I couldn't mention a couple of names, and it would be probably reasonable to include mine in that collective. So I think let's make it a collective effort. If you are an entry level musician, not by talent, but I just mean by exposure and experience, uh, put in the effort to try and reach out to people who you think have been in the space longer than you, and hopefully they can make the time available. But also, if you've been in the industry for some time, I encourage you to also just put in a minute or so to kind of balance it out. But yeah, it's going to take effort. It's not going to be incidental. I don't fully have an answer that is comprehensive. I can only speak about my experiences that since this worship coalition movement, there's been a door as far as dealing with vocalists is concerned. I'm interacting with a lot of younger vocalists, and as far as musicians band side, I've been trying also to kind of now be to bring in a bit of a mix up in the productions I do, instead of just going with entirely mainstream musicians. But yeah, it's a collective effort, guys. And I think we should all be intentional.
Yeah. Okay. Guys, we haven't been receiving questions, but there's a question that has been coming. I think since the third episode, there's been this. Um, I think we'll have to walk through it quickly because we're running out of time now. There's been this question. I think it appeared a lot on episode 3, where people were requesting how to draw up a budget and all of that. So I think the Friday episode sparked that as well, where at least we try to explain all these do's and don'ts and whatnot. So some people would love to know about budget breakdown, and I saw a lot of a question as well around the terms, because obviously they keep hearing that there's rehearsal fee and there's catering as well. Others are saying, why should I get paid? Why should they pay my transport and buy food for me when I'm going to work? I think that is in comparison with the corporate 9 to 5 kind of setup. And uh, uh, yeah, I think we might need to move into that quickly, because guys, we are towards the end of our first season. We are left with 2 episodes. um we are left with 2 episodes. Wednesday we have a very interesting one that will tackle around the songwriting and all of that, and I think on Friday as well, the stuff that we've prepared for this week. And I know that a lot of questions have been coming through, and we've been putting them aside and grouping them. But we are towards our end of season 1. So maybe let's use this last 20 minutes or 10-15 minutes, maybe just to wrap up this production thing, and on so Wednesday we move into something else, and Friday we move into something else totally, and then we end it right there. How do you feel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's
Right.
move.
I think so far with all the episodes, we've touched pretty much most of the things that we wanted to share. I know it wasn't a lot. We were just ngesizulu kuthiwa besikha ngaphezulu nje besingangeni deep besikha ngaphezulu. I don't know in English how to say that. So we didn't really go into details with other things, but we were just discussing them from top and just outlining them to everyone. So uh, today's discussion obviously was about the tribalism and the conflict and all of that. Again, I think one of the key things that we said, we are saying, let's end it. Let's not look at those things. Let's look at the talent rather. I think this question as well came. You remember the other day, the other engineer asked why we're always booking certain people and blah 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 blah, and we're booking white people and blah 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 and all of that. You don't want to be booked based on your color scheme. You'd rather be, I think personally, I just wouldn't want to be booked based on that. I just want to be booked because I'm good and I'm talented at what I'm doing. And I think let's focus more on the talent. I think when I came to Gauteng to pursue this music thing, I just wanted great. I came here and I checked everyone. I checked what people are doing. I moved into production. I moved into creating relationships. I did TV. I did soapies. I did that. I did Lion King as a singer. When I came here, I did auditions for Moja, and they accepted me, and then I pulled out. I did a whole lot of things. When I came here, I just wanted to be great. I was never thinking about who's from where and all of that. All those things, it's dirty things that we picked up from along the way. So I think it's not good. Let's go back to talent, guys. Let's book people because they are good and they're just capable, and they've exposed themselves to all of us. So I'm just trying to wrap up that discussion we started with. Can we please show more of the talent than anything else. If you are talented and you are good, we'll book you. If you are not, or we don't know you, we don't know you. And as for mentoring and all of that, if we can and we have time, I know that these guys, they are giving that, and other producers, there's a lot of producers here as well. There's always those opportunities as well. But we look at talent more than anything. More than anything, we look at the talent. I mean, just to make a joke about it, I never thought I would find a bass player from Social Move, hey? Someone who, like Ish. I mean, he's young, but he's a hot bass player. He's hot.
That's the bass player I was talking about.
Yeah, and he's hot.
Yeah.
And it's got nothing. I don't know where he's coming from. It's more in fact, but I just appreciated his playing, and we brought him on board, and we really didn't care about whether his bass is off tune or not. But the talent is there. He's just got, like I said, I'm making it a joke. He's my boy, but I just loved his playing, and he's a brilliant bass player. And I know you guys are using him, and everyone is using. I mean, you remember we fought the other week. All of us wanted him, and to find that both of the three of us, we can't find him. Job booked him. Job stole our bass player. So you know, look, if you are talented and we see you and we bump into you, trust me, you will be booked. And again, when you see us at the show, don't show off so that you are trying to maybe send a picture. Say, guys, I'm here. I can play. Play the music. We will find you in the music. We will hear you within the chord structure and the arrangement. So, look, I think let's base it on talent. And yes, now we are commenting. We used the bass player. We stole my bass. Stole my bass player for the Christmas party.
We did a show with Ishmael in December. And
Yes.
also
Christmas.
Mbambe's,
Yes. What I'm saying is he showed up. He showed up, and we heard him, and we are booking him. So, and he's young. He's a small boy. He's probably could be my firstborn, actually, if I were to speed up things. But I'm saying he's talented, and he showed up, and I know most of people are speaking well about him. And there's younger guitarists that are out there. There's younger. I mean, I did a recording. In fact, now that we're talking about it, I did a recording the second project I did for Jonas Masot, I played with. I struggled getting a drummer. Most of the guys were not available. I ended up getting a guy called Khotso
From Val.
from Val.
Mm.
He was young, and I think at the time, and again, I mean, Tsepo Mloyo would comment on this. I remember during rehearsals, he was scared, man. Yeah, well, and I kept on pushing him, said, dude, you are doing this recording. You're going to do it. And he made it work. But he was young. Now he's playing big gigs. But I bumped into him doing AKA, was it AKA or Casper or something. So they're doing big gigs now. But I'm saying, if you expose yourself and give us and just show off, we will find you, and other producers will see you, and other music directors as well who are booking people will be exposed to you. So there is
And that nice organ player you were playing with?
yes.
Yeah.
When I was doing the big recording,
Bald
Bold
out.
Art,
Hey,
I had
that boy is
I
hot.
had a young
Dumelo.
organ player, yes, Dumelo. He ended up playing in my album as well. Immediately after I heard of him, I created an opportunity that he plays in my album before I release. I stopped the actual production of the recording so that he jumps in and puts, keyboards. I'm saying, if you expose yourself, we will find you. And he was brought in by Sia as well from his hometown, obviously. But I'm saying, if he didn't expose himself to Sia, I wouldn't have heard him as well. So it's a chain.
It's a food chain. And there's that. I think since we are putting names out there,
Yeah.
the Busi Khadebe recording, the one that's
Yes, the one you
trending,
did.
topping
Yes.
the charts left and right.
Yeah.
I did it with Ishmael and Andile. Oh, he's beautiful. Skosana.
Yes. Son, yes.
Yeah, so you all should check him out also.
Are
Those
you talking about Andy, the friend, Ishne?
yeah, what
Yeah.
issue? Yeah, the guitar
I
player.
used him on the very same recording where I was using Dumelo. These were young cats.
Yeah,
I'm
so
saying
it's
people should just expose themselves. We will hear you. We will book you. Maybe don't call us. We'll call you. Maybe.
Because my phone, my inbox.
Bring a phone. Tag us on your recording. Tag us. Don't ask for the gig. We will hear you. We need to hear you. So, I mean, Joyous gave an opportunity to Tato. Tato is a young boy, but he was showing up. He was solid. He was ready for the gig, and he's hot now. I mean, I remember people that fainted playing drums during that show. That show is hectic, but that young boy he's ready and he
My
was
brother,
fire. Yeah.
Tato knows all the Joyous songs from Joyous 1 until the one they are doing now.
What does that mean? He's been practicing from home. He's been checking all these people and their productions.
oh, and he's got a
So,
punch, eh?
and
Tato
he's got
has
a punch. And he's got a
yeah,
punch. And we can't take that away
he's
from him. So,
he's
guys, it's free to do a YouTube page. Do that. Maybe you can find a way to get my number or get Lebo's number or get or inbox or whatever or email. Send us the link to your page. Then we will check you out. So uh, we'll hear the talent. If we're looking for the drama, and then we'll find you because these guys are always busy as well. Spanning like South Africa, there's too many of us. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about who fainted, but I was just in jail. So listen, because I know where you guys are trying to take this thing. I know where you guys are trying to. So, but I'm just saying, expose yourself. We'll find you. Let's stop this thing about tribalism. Let's find each other. Let's give each other opportunities. Let's give each other a chance. And all of that. I met up a drummer from Zimbabwe. We tried to get him over here so that he can play this side. Look, let's give each other a chance, guys. Let's give each other a chance. Let's look at the talent. Let's see the talent more, and let's leave all these dirty things. Thank you. A quick one, guys. How do you go about breaking down? Okay, guys, we agree. We've closed our today's discussion has just ended right there. So, few minutes. Let's wrap up the one from Friday, where we were talking about all the steps, the meeting, how we do the meeting, and how do you break down your budget. There's a whole lot of things that are in there, and how do you make it work? How do you make it work? there's a whole lot of things that you guys are talking about. I heard you talking about production. How do you do the budget? Can we maybe make an example by doing a budget? Uh, 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 let's just go wild. Let's just make it an expensive recording. I don't know whether
should we go expensive?
I think let's go expensive or
Maybe let's ask the audience
okay,
what a production budget total should be, and see how
guys.
we can make it work.
Guys, we're left with a few minutes. We want to do a budget. I'll put up a spreadsheet. I'll share a spreadsheet here. We'll put it up together and tell you the things that are needed in the production, and then let's price them. We might not expose the real figures that maybe individuals charge, but we'll give an estimate. Give us a budget. One is saying 300K. We'll try and be within that 300K. So obviously, if I'm told that it's 300K, so let's take this Madube. He's saying 300K. So if then you are told, I don't know now if this will make sense though to say, I told you that I have 300K, and then you have to work around within the 300K, or will 300K give you a good production? Can 300K give you a good production?
I think any amount can give you good production. So let's find a way to make 300K work.
Let me look quickly. Let me go quickly and look at and look for a previous code, maybe that I did, and then just remove some things, their names and whatnot. Let me look for an old spreadsheet. Let's see what we have there. People are saying 500K, 400K. Some say 2K, my brother. No, 2,000 rand. That one.
Yeah, I think
we'll recommend. Okay.
Yeah.
No, we'll recommend other upcomings, my brother. Okay, now he's opening another question, but it's cool. Let's work on the budget. Let's work on the budget. Can you see the screen? Can you see the breakdown?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, cool. All right. So this is, guys, a basic breakdown, a basic background.
Sorry, I think you should,
Can you zoom?
Can you try and increase your text size to maybe 125%? Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Increase that zoom there.
increase the zoom.
There's a zoom there. Where is the 100%?
Yeah, there, yeah.
Yeah, that one.
125%. Yeah.
Take it where to?
125.
125?
Make it one. You can actually make it 200.
125.
Is it 5?
200 is gonna be
Too much.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah,
Guys,
150 is fine. Yeah, I think it's fine.
That's reasonable.
Yeah,
that's fine.
All right. So, guys, I hope you can see. I've zoomed in. Guys. I've zoomed in. Maybe let's check our phones, the ones we are using, and just pray that we upgrade. Okay, people are still asking for Zoom. Guys, I'm on 200 now. I think this is the furthest I can go, right? I'm on 200 now, so everyone can see, right? Much better. Okay, thank you. Okay, right. Obviously, here on top is your company logos and whatnot, code numbers. You guys know how to do an invoice. I don't think this is an invoice class. So, let's go to the breakdown. I think we are more dealing with the description in the production. First things first, what we have a music producer, which will then say music producer and music director. I didn't want to separate that for now, because most of the time our productions we produce and direct at the same time. So maybe let's talk about that. And then secondly, in the music production, there's a music producer who's a music director, or you have separate, it's fine. And there's band performances, the band performance fees. There's singers performance fee as well. Then there's production fee. There's production fee. There's pre-production fee. There's pre-production fee that comes with sequencing and all of that. If you guys are doing the sequencer, it's fine. And then there's rehearsal fees. There's rehearsal fees. There's studio. There's studio for pre-production as well, and there's rehearsal venue. There's rehearsal catering. So, Josie, is there anything missing with what you're looking at? Any comment?
I think it's a comprehensive categorization. We can work with it. It covers.
Works.
Yeah.
Okay. How much do we pay a music producer then?
If you're working with 300K.
If you're working with 300K.
Morolo? I think we can't book you for this gig, obviously.
Yeah, I think more now. As gig here, ke o re tlabeleng Leboha ka petrol.
Yes, Maruti. Okay, what would be a figure that would make you happy?
I need Joseph.
No, not that would make him happy. That would fit to 300K. Let's just
fit to 300K.
No, I think right now we're not working on happiness. We're working on 300K.
Yeah, it's not him producing. It's finding a producer that fits the 300K budget.
Yeah, let's say music director. Maybe remove 45,000.
Okay.
I think
right,
it's gonna catch up with us.
It's gonna catch up with us. 45 is already high.
Yeah, it's already too high. Try 30.
30, yeah. Let's do 30.
Okay, so this 30,000 includes him all the things we spoke about, going through the music, directing, arranging all the songs, and doing all of that, right? Excluding the pre-production, right? Are we agreeing?
Mm-hmm. We are.
Okay, so he takes about 10% of the project, of the budget.
So far.
And singers and band?
I thought this was gonna be quick.
It's gonna take long.
Okay, can we rush through the code and see how far it leads us at the bottom line, and then we'll come back and do edits.
Okay.
So let's just assume. Let's assume.
There's 5 of them. Let's talk about band now. So we have. It's supposed to be 4. It's 5, right? So if the producer is going to be directing and playing as well, so we'll have.
Just make it 4 there.
So I need to make it 4 there.
Change the quantity. To 4.
4. Okay, cool.
Let's just assume 10 grand for this.
The music director is offering to just play without paying.
Yes.
Yeah, without an extra support.
Okay. Guys, I'm going to figure pants.
Yeah,
Singers, how much? Same amount? Do you pay them the same, or how much do you pay your singers? And if you're paying them less, I think we would love to know why you're paying them less.
That's a good question. I've been asking for a while, because back in the years when I started out, they said we pay singers less because they don't buy an instrument. And right now, when I get to the rehearsal, whether I'm at Sly or at Mesh Pro or at Sound GP, they're going to give me the keyboard I'm going to use at the gig. So I don't need to buy a keyboard or service it. So I don't know now if that argument still makes sense. But in this context, in some instances, we still pay singers to do overdubs. And we usually don't pay band members. So I guess that's probably the reason why band members get paid more for the performance. But again, the logic of that is still wanting, because if you have a large number of singers, you don't have all of them doing overdubs. But I think.
Okay, let's assume you have 3 singers.
Pick a number. Yeah, pick a number.
8,000?
Sure.
Because I know a lot of them, they don't get less than this. So this is like a negotiated fee, in my space. So I don't know.
This is like worst case scenario.
Yeah. Lebo, can you give us an idea of the pre-production or fee that you would want? Obviously, this means you starting doing all the sequencing and going through songs, asking for songs from musicians and all of that. That's your time and all of those things. What would be a fee that makes sense for pre-production and sequencing?
It will probably be around 10K.
Oh, Lebo, you do Ramirez.
But let's not forget it's not level doing this. So
Yeah, no,
These are just
we are working with 300 guys. So
300.
can we make it 5K for now?
Let's make
5K,
it
5K
Yeah.
should make sense, guys. We are at 99,000, so it's cool.
Ay. Okay.
It's a very bad number.
penny budget, and we are
Penny
Yeah.
budget. Rehearsal fees for 10 people. Why rehearsal fees, guys? Why don't you bring your own food from home and just come here and rehearse and go home? Eat at home.
Morolo?
If we're eating at home, the gig fee goes up as well. Yeah, fine.
My question is, this thing of rehearsal fees keeps popping all the time. People want rehearsal fees. Why is there such a thing? Why are you saying rehearsal fees? Why people should be paid rehearsal fees? Why don't they transport themselves at home? Because I'm paying you most after the gig. You should get that money from the rehearsal fees and take yourself home and bring your own scaftini.
Actually, interestingly enough, I had this conversation on two accounts with two different people. One was with a record label owner, of a significantly big production label, and he asked me that question, and I thought about it, and it makes sense. But one of the challenges we have, I think that leads us to this conundrum, is the fact that structurally musicians in our industry have not yet got their house in order, because I was recommending a system where you actually pay somebody a deposit instead of paying them rehearsal fee. You give them 50% of their payment, which includes everything, and then later give them the balance. So if they're going to do overdubs and there's a special payment for that, everything is included in that. If they wanna, if how they work out their cost, it includes their traveling cost and their catering costs. Everything is worked out into that payment, and you just give them a 50% fee and give them a balance. The reason why that doesn't work all the time is because one of the challenges we have is the unreliability of the people we work with. Because sometimes I agree to the gig, and halfway through the production, I decide, you know what, Ish, there's this nicer gig that came up, Thabethe, so can you ask Lebo to take over? And now in that case, it somewhat sophisticates the whole experience, because now you've already given away 50% of the money. But perhaps also, coming to think of it, if somebody has 50% of the money, they probably wouldn't be walking away from the gig last minute. So I don't know. But I know right now, structurally, what's going on is that as a simpler solution, people make rehearsal fees available, and they make, what do you call it? Payments as a separate thing.
Let me align my friends here. I see some of my friends are asking, who are these people that have gotten 8,000 and they're singers?
Is it little or is it more?
Yeah, they feel like these people are angels. They're saying it's less. And I can tell you now, my people who are following us and who are here, this 8,000 actually is when you have really negotiated, unfortunately. Again, I'm going to say this, not in disrespect or anything. Let's remember that productions are not the same, number one. And there's other recordings that don't have nice budget, and we know that other people getting 4.5, 5,000, whatever. Others are getting 2.5 and all of that. But I can confidently say that in the recordings I've done, and these guys have done, some of our singers have gotten way more than this. Even if it wasn't our recording foot, I know that a lot of singers are getting way more than this. And
Oh no, they're getting a lot more than.
yeah, so 8,000 really, 8,000 really. We're not saying it's too small. We are just putting it as a figure that is
Because we have a 300,000 rand
we have a
limitation.
300,000.
Don't forget,
Budget. Yeah,
we are working
we're
with a
just
cap of
estimating.
300.
Yeah, we're
3,000,
just
the 300
estimating for now.
Yeah.
So
So it's like, I think something to bear in mind also around these cost projections. In every industry and in everything that you are going to spend money on, there's different uh, classes to it. I think class is a terrible word to use, but just as much as there's a difference between body sprays from X to a very expensive Tom Ford cologne. And even with cars, there's like a Kia Picanto all the way to a Rolls Royce. Even with service provision, there is going to be variances in the amounts you charge. So your ultimate budget is going to determine for you uh, what service provider you get. And so the figures are not absolute. You can still get I know productions right now that are happening right now in this season. Well, not right now in the lockdown, but I'm sure you get what I mean. Where people are getting 4 grand for doing the recording, and I mean band members. And I know productions that are happening where people are getting over 25K as band members. So it really has variances depending on the budget and the scale of the production you're dealing with. So let's just bear that in mind. We're not saying you should go out and be like, oh, it means if I want to book a musician, it's 10 grand. That's not what we're saying. Chances are, if we were to take out all our quotations that we've sent between the three of us, you would see some very weird variations. Some go all the way to, like I said, over 25K for just one musician, and others go as low as 4,000. And I've heard of recordings where people did them for 2.5. So it's really going to depend on the service providers you're getting and the budget you have. The thing that we're trying to get you to see right now is all the costs you should be thinking about before you go into your recording, and how you can effectively manage your budget to get the best possible results out of it. So these are not final.
and I can tell you now, with where we are going now, 300K is already it's not possible.
Yeah, I can see it's very impractical.
And
Yeah.
again, maybe just to clarify, guys, here we are just talking about the live DVD recording as well. I think this should expose that how expensive is a DVD recording now, and whoever is hopeful should consider that they're not going to spend anything below 300,000 with where we are standing right now. I mean, let's assume that this is what I would quote now. Already, where we are standing now, we're just only on payments now. We just only did salaries now for performance fee. These are performance fees that we're just talking about. And again, it only makes sense to pay a rehearsal fee. Actually, how I explain rehearsal fee is um, 8,000 rands is just the the 10 and 8,000 is just the performance fee. It's just performance fee. It's just for me to be on stage with you and stand there for 2-3 hours. But you keeping me long in rehearsals and all of that, this is how I break down sometimes. Just to say, if I'm going to, let's go to rehearsal actually. If I'm going to give rehearsal fees and say, I'm going to give you 250, or we had budgeted 300, let's just make it 300 for the point I'm trying to make. If we say
Which is going to be 3,000.
which is going to be 3,000, and this is per day, right?
Actually, I think this rehearsal
Yeah,
fee one is
yeah, it's
complicated. We didn't
yeah,
set it out properly.
we didn't say that properly.
Because
So
if you're saying 300 per person
person, then it will
a
have to
day,
be, yeah, that's going to be
so it's
3,000.
about, no, it's
Supposed to
not
be like,
even 3,000. It's yeah, somewhere there.
yeah, it is.
My maths is losing me. But for how many days? Is it
This is for 10 days.
okay?
This is for 10 days. But
Cool.
again,
Yeah, that works out fine. Yeah,
yes.
you're right.
So now what I would sometimes negotiate with my clients, this is a negotiation that comes from the client first before it goes to musicians, to say, look, I understand that we have an issue of you are complaining about rehearsals fees that they are high and you still have to buy food. So sometimes what I would negotiate is to say, we cut down the rehearsal fees for me. It's your transport and your food for the day, having you there for those 10 days. So what I'll do then is to say, let's split the 300 that I'm meant to pay one person, and say, look, I'll give you 200 rands for transport, and then I'll give you 100 rands for food. So, but I'm gonna take the 100 rands and then pay a catering company and say them that the plate should be 100 rands per person per day. And obviously then negotiations start there to say, no, look, I can do an 80 rands plate for you, and then we work it out backwards. So sometimes end up people getting 150 for their transportation, because transport is expensive to come to rehearsal. If then I'm going to have to spend 10 days with you in preparation of this recording, and you're saying you don't have rehearsal fee, you want to pay me 8,000. So it means 3,000 rands, about 3,000 rands goes towards transport, and then I'm taking home what? How much am I taking home there to perform? So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I don't know if I'm explaining it right, guys.
Yeah.
It won't. It won't.
So pull up that rehearsal venue.
Rehearsal venue. I mean, we know that rehearsal venues, most of them, they charge like 800-900, because they charge like 200 per hour. 200. Some most the most expensive room now is about 200-250, right?
Which
Actually,
works out to about 1.2, 1.4 a day.
Yeah, somewhere they will spend about 1.2 per day, right?
Per day. So for 10 days, it's 12 grand.
Yes.
No,
So
just, yeah.
yeah, and this includes the keyboards that they give you and blah blah
Yeah.
blah 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 blah, right?
I haven't
So-
rehearsed in a while though. I think it's around 1.2, yeah.
Yeah, it's somewhere there actually. So most people charge the studio, like Lindelani has indicated when you had him here. You ought to charge for your studio when you work on the project. Just for argument's sake, and to give a discount based on the fee that you are getting as a producer, you'd say maybe 1,000 rands a day to make it like a rehearsal fee, or 800 rands a day for your studio. Make sense?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
workable.
yeah.
So now, okay, so let's remove catering and just say rehearsal fees
Yeah,
include
yeah.
catering as well. So we don't
Yeah,
need
just
that.
leave it blank, yeah.
Yeah. So now let's go to post production. Let's move faster, guys. We left with 15 minutes. Let's see if we can cover everything within 15 minutes. Recording studio for overdubs. Most of the studios, how much are they charging? 3,000 a day.
3 grand a day, yeah, around
3
there.
grand a day is a fair price for a studio. So so how many days do you normally need? Sorry, let's look at the total. How many days
Probably
for
between 4 and 5.
between
4 and 5
4
days.
days?
I don't know. I think in this case we'll say 4 because of the
Okay, cool.
complicated circumstances.
How much do you pay singers for overdubs now, over and above? And again, the argument says there's a lot of questions. The argument says, as a client or as an artist now, why should I pay for overdubs? Because I'm sure overdubs now, other than explaining it as to say you guys are coming back to fix your problems that you guys made. You guys didn't forget the structures. Why must you come? Why must I pay for you guys to come and fix your mistakes? I think that goes to musicians now to say, why must I pay you for overdubs? And again, if I'm paying the singers, why must I pay them? And because you guys messed up. It's not me who was messing up.
Yeah, that's a reasonable question. From a singer's perspective, it's I think we touched on overdubs. It's not always a case of fixing mistakes, because 9 out of 10 times with if you really have good singers, you still use the live vocals in your mix, and if they are done right, they actually end up being the dominant take in your mix. But for extra neatness, because unfortunately, circumstantially, you find that with the circumstances surrounding a live performance, there's a lot that happens that kind of makes makes you need to have the support of studio vocals. The logic of it is not that they are fixing, it's that they are adding more support.
Yeah, but
So
I
I
think
think from
again on episode, I think on episode 2, right? I think episode 2 where we had Christo who was touching on that.
Yeah, that you
As to
need kind of
why
need
we're
that as
overlapping.
yeah.
So, guys, you can still go back to that episode
Yeah.
and just go through and hear why sometimes we're doing the overdubs as well. It's not really just to fix mistakes. It's just topping. Sometimes it's probably just making them sound better. It depends on the producer what they want. But 90% or 95% of the live recordings, especially in the gospel space, in fact 99.9, they
In
do
life, it's not
in life
not even a gospel just on earth. There's one recording I heard on an international global scale that didn't have overdubs, and you can tell that they should have
Okay, cool.
overdubbed.
Quickly, let's say how much? 3.5, 3,000, 1.5. How far do you guys negotiate?
Okay, for
brother.
now, based on
Based on 300,000.
I keep making this mistake. Yes, I'm not
Yeah,
based on the 300K, what would make sense?
I think 2, man, maybe.
Okay, negotiated, obviously.
Yeah, we'll see.
Studio for editing audio and band overdubs. We need to pay. Okay, I just need to clarify that. So, after doing the overdubs, there's editing that happens. Especially, remember, we're talking about the live recording here. There's editing that happens. There's noise that needs to be deleted. There's other things that need to be edited. Bass player played a funny note somewhere. There's editing. There's cleaning up a live, especially live recording. There's a lot of cleaning up. I end up finding myself that I spend almost a lot of days just editing. After doing all the overdubs and everything is there, the editing itself. Because I can tell you now, if Job is here, could jump in now, he will tell you that I've done recordings for him that they brought to him for mixing, and he finds that they are not edited, and then he would ask me to do the editing, and obviously he has to pay me for that. But editing is quite a key thing because most of the engineers who are doing mixing and mastering now, they don't want to do any editing. They just want to find everything ready, labeled right, cleaned up, all those mistakes and whatnot done. So it always an issue in the editing. So band overdubs, obviously, then the band, obviously, sometimes they come, okay, let me remove that because most musicians now, they have their own studios at home. So they do their overdubs at home and then send back the files. Studio for editing, sometimes they do a discount, maybe to half what you pay for when you're doing singers, because the editing is just only the producer only. Am I right? Are you approving that budget?
Yeah, it's cool.
okay.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Mixing and mastering. Most engineers, they charge what? 3,000 per song, 3.5 per song?
Yeah, between 3 and 4. That 18 songs, in light of the limitations of the budget, can we make it less songs just for the sake of order? I don't know. Try 15. I don't know if it'll make a difference, but 15.
I think I need to say 15 here. Actually,
Yeah.
15, right?
Yeah.
How much?
Let's suppose it's $3,000 or so.
Okay. So we're sitting at 216 now.
So we are not going to make 300.
We are definitely not going to meet because now there's backline, there's front of house engineer, there's a monitor engineer, there's audio tracking, there's a venue as well involved, there's DVD recording, there's lighting, there's design, there's photo, and whatnot. So, Baina, even if we read that like our estimator, even if we read that like our estimator, you can see that a live DVD is quite expensive, Nje. As an estimate, Nje. I mean, look, we're at 216 now. Let's run quickly. I need Aaron to jump into something as well at the end of this as well. To talk about, you see, the service providers here. There's issues of VAT. There's issues of tax as well. That is not implicated here. So let's finish it. Let's finish this up quickly, and then I want him to do a closing on that.
Yeah. So backline.
most of the time backline 4 keyboards, 6 keyboards. Let's say 4 keyboards plus a
Let's say
Hammond.
4.
Let's say 4 keyboards plus a Hammond.
You're looking.
Yeah. Let's leave the Hammond at home for now.
Let's leave the Hammond. Let's leave the Hammond at home.
Like a C2D maybe or something.
C2D.
But already with this budget, I'm not even sure if I'm already reviewing this band size. I'm thinking we must release somebody. Maybe the
Another thing,
keyboard
just also check the figure for studio for editing audio, because you've got 1.5, but you multiply it by 4. Is it for 4 days or?
Yeah, that's 4. Yeah, those days are a lot.
Speaking from experience, it has taken me longer than this. I can cut it down to 2 days, maybe if I work non-stop. But let's say 2 days.
Yeah, don't forget, it's not you editing.
No, but I'm just giving an idea in terms of number of days for editing.
Okay. So, because the issue, we can just adjust the figure.
Yeah, the figure we can adjust, but in terms of the amount of
the
work,
time the
time
work
you spend on editing only, it takes
generally it is long. It takes me about 5 days or more.
You see, so we're just trying to be nice. We'll say 2 days.
Yeah.
So, 20 grand for backline.
Yeah, that's if you're not using Lebo Morolo. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, because Lebo Morolo alone with his keyboards.
Masilo, I know you are here as a front of house engineer. We have a very limited budget of 300,000. What kind of a figure would you give us, Jay? Because I know you are here, and just give us a random number. Not that you charge that number, but what would give us an idea? And then let's move. He will come back. Monitor engineer. Actually, give us front of house and monitor engineers. Audio tracking, guys.
I'm going to humbly submit that if you are dealing with 100,000, maybe you should consider doing without a monitor engineer.
Yes.
Yeah, let everything run from the front.
Masilo is saying 12K per day.
Hey, Masilo. Not for this recording.
Not for this recording. This recording is Aroa 40 here clearly for this recording.
No. Not for this recording.
Someone is saying backline is usually around 35K going up.
It is. So I think that's what I was saying.
Okay. People are saying I should put 12K. They are enforcing this. I should put 12K on the front of house engineer.
Okay.
For setup day, sound check day, and performance day.
No, that means we have to call him for only the actual recording. We can't call him for setup day because we can't afford him. He's charging 12,000.
But who's gonna do sound check?
But we're not booking Masilo. I think we must leave him at home.
Masilo, this is not your figure. You're just speaking in general around engineers and idea
in light of the 300,000.
In light of the 300,000. So,
but I understand. But Thabethe, I think in my estimation, I think it's justifiable because one of the things you don't want to lose out on is this area we've just entered into. It's a very delicate one. So I think you do want to spend top dollars, especially with your tracking and with your front of house engineer, because these are the two people that carry the success or failure of your production. Because if the engineer is not happening, then the production experience might fall apart. And if your tracking guy tracks whatever he's feeling, then you're gonna have a problem. I would say let's get an expensive engineer, I would say, and then we can cut out the second keyboard player. No offense to second keyboard players.
Okay, let's put it at 12. Let's put it at 12.
Yeah.
Let's put it at 12 for 1 day. Negotiated.
By the way, Joseph.
Yes.
Joseph, by the way, you and I have been doing. You've been doing recordings alone on stage, and I would be doing keyboards.
You see, in fact, every recording I do, Lebo is on it. You just don't know.
Yeah, he's doing it at home. It's
Yeah,
after.
he's doing it at home, but
Okay, so let's say 12K. I've already used. I'm just making an example. I've used negotiated with my friend Marcelo. Please, man, I've got 12K. I can't pay you 12K for 2 days. Let's just do 1 day. We set up in the morning. We set up in the morning. We record in the evening. No setup day. Everything is done in 1 day, right? Because we've done a lot of recordings that are like that, where we set up in the morning.
yeah.
Do we need a for this
No.
project? Do we need a monitor engineer?
We don't afford one.
We don't afford one.
Yeah.
Audio tracking. What are we saying there?
We must do the right thing also there.
What is the right thing?
I think Morolo, is Cristo in the room?
He was earlier, so I'm not sure if he's still there.
Yeah.
I doubt he would want to comment on this. I doubt he would want to comment. Christo, are you still there? I saw you were there earlier. So give us a hopeful number. Or Masilo must just jump back again and speak for the engineers, his friends.
Hey, yeah.
Estimate, guys. Estimate.
Yo,
Wait.
Yes.
Aaron, you do tracking, Baba. Give us it's not what you charge. It's not what you charge. We know you charge way more than what you're going to give us now. But can you give us a random number that you think maybe it would be in a nice space?
For a clean recording.
I'd say for this one, we can charge 30,000 for tracking.
And remember, this is just tracking. We're not talking really your PA front of house. We're just talking tracking number one. And number two, within that audio tracking, guys, to those who don't know, audio tracking, obviously most engineers, that engineer is bringing mics, he's bringing cabling on stage, he's bringing monitors, in-ear monitors for the musicians and everyone. What else guys am I missing? This is excluding backline. This is just
sometimes they'll bring
and
their
the setup
own
crew,
consoles.
yeah.
And the setup crew, there's a whole lot of things that are happening. So are you saying 30K is safe?
For this recording, yeah.
For this recording, safe.
For this budget.
Yeah.
For this budget.
Guys, I'm requesting 10 more minutes. We are almost done. We are at the end. 30,000. So on the production day, we are missing one thing here. We are missing catering on the day. Catering on the day. The crew arrives early in the morning. If we're doing 1 day setup, the guys are coming in at with the recordings I've done, I mean, we'd rock up at the recording around 11 at night before to start setup at 4 a.m. if the venue allows us. Sometimes we'd rock up around 5, 6. Around other recordings we rock up like 4 a.m. To start setting up at 6. They can only give us the venue from 6. So there's breakfast that is included there. There's lunch that happens when everyone is coming in for lunch.
Sound checks. Yeah, sound checks and then
all of that. And 3, there's supper that happens. Sometimes it happens before we go on stage. Sometimes it happens after the stage. So, but it's a there's Tepo Mate. Tepo, we know you are very you've got a nice price, but can you give us a price, Nje, as an estimate from a catering perspective, because you've been catering, but this is not what you charge. You're just giving us a random number, Nje, that you think could cover. I mean, we're talking about how many people here most of the time. 12. We've counted 10 people already on top there.
it's about 30 plus, about 30 people.
Yeah, it's about 30 people most of the time. We just need a number. We just need a number that would really...
Yeah. 30 people 3 times.
Yeah, that will feed 30 people 3 times. Quickly, Tepo Mate. Give us a number. Whether you buy fish and chips, we're just looking for the number. Whether you buy fish and chips or you buy KFC or you're buying whatever that you're buying, but that money should be within the budget. Saints, you
We
can
don't
see
have a
already,
venue and we don't have cameras.
we don't have a venue and we don't have cameras, and you've already told them that you're recording a live DVD. The sponsor is already on his way out here. This is what happens when the sponsor says, I am pulling out. This is they see these type of numbers and they run away. Tapo, we need a number. Tapo, I know you're here. Give us a number. Let's say, for argument's sake, how much, guys? 15, 10, 10,000, 15,000 for food? 10,000, I don't know, 8,000?
Let's say 10, man. I don't know who we can find for 10 for feeding. Maybe we'll just buy KFC buckets or something, but
So
I don't
10,000.
know, but not more than 10.
Okay, let's just say 10. The visual guys are asking me if I was still recording visuals. My brother, at this point, I think I'm canceling you. We are not recording. Visually,
Sorry, which venue are we using with this budget? Because I see we are skipping the venue, or we'll come back to it.
Oh, sorry, no, I made a mistake there. Venue-wise, Gold Reef, because everyone is going to Gold Reef.
Gold Reef is how much now? 40 or 50?
I think about 150 Nento.
Somewhere around 58,000.
Yeah,
Oh, they're 58 now.
Yeah.
Canaan is here. Canaan is here. I know that.
Oh, he's recently paid for the venue. So
No, I think he goes there even when he's bored. He just goes and pays. He's just a nice guy. Canaan, give us
how much
numbers.
is the lyric?
Canaan, give us numbers. I know even during the week you just book and just chill alone. Give us numbers. Give us numbers. We are closing, guys. It's already past. We are closing. Well, Kenyan is saying, guys, Tina Bama 300K, let's go and sleep, guys. Give us a number. How much is
Lyric Theatre?
Lyric Theatre? 50.
But I don't think the Lyric Theatre is gonna work for this gig.
For this recording, if it doesn't make sense, you need to go to your church, use your tent, use because already you're 285.
Yeah.
A little theater.
Little theatre.
How much is Little Theatre? Estimate.
But I think if you go to a theater, you're also going to save on lights as well and sound.
and PA, because that's why. Let's go for Gold Reef. Stick to 50.
Let's go for Gold Reef because if the 50K then includes lighting and all of that.
And sound and PA, yeah. So it's a better solution.
Okay, cool. Right.
Okay, the sponsor has pulled out already by this time.
So the sponsor.
No, the sponsor is
long gone.
Yeah, he left a couple of minutes ago.
I would suggest
we can't find him. We've been calling him.
I'm still suggesting that you use Yamaha for this.
I'm thinking we use Yamaha. How much is Yamaha? 10, 18,000?
About 18,000, I think. Yeah.
Let's say 20K.
Yeah.
Let's say 20K because there's deposit, what, don't, all those money fees that come up, security, what. Let's just say 20K for argument's sake. So we are extra with 5,000 now. It's cool. Let's continue and wrap it up and see where we're going to cut. So DVD recording, visuals.
So yeah. I listen.
I listen media.
Eyelashes. I know they're here.
What do you mean?
Okay, lyric. They're saying 60K. We definitely can't afford it.
Yeah,
let's go to Yamaha. Or we can even go to Breitenbach. Breitenbach is what, 7,000?
Breitenbach doesn't have PA.
It doesn't have PA, but it has lights. Okay, so let's stick to Gold Reef, yeah? To Yamaha.
Yeah, to Yamaha. Yamaha might even have but their backline is always tricky, man. Yeah.
So DVDs. I listen. This is not your fee, but we are just giving us an estimate. 75K, 80K for DVD,
including editing.
100, 80, going once, going twice.
The venue is a 200 seater. Is it 100 or 200?
The venue. It's 250, I think.
Okay.
It's a 200 seat.
Yeah, so you need like 5K. Okay, okay. The guest eyelashes has just given me a number. They're saying 65K.
Okay.
Bazalone is sponsor Sialala man. The sponsor is sleeping right now. He's closing. He's
The
putting.
sponsor has taken that money and bought the wife a new car.
At 305 was still in the area trying to reverse the car, but at 370 He's already locked the door. He's inside
He's
the
changing
project.
his SIM card, my brother.
He's changing his SIM card actually right now.
Yeah.
The sponsor is changing the SIM card and changing his okay. So lighting, we're not
Is there
paying for
lighting
lighting
in
because
Yamaha?
the venue is coming with lighting, right?
Does it have lighting?
Yeah, yes, it has a
Yamaha.
bit of lighting.
Yeah,
Yamaha
it does have lighting.
it does have lighting.
Is it decent?
It's decent.
I don't know anything about lighting.
We're not sure. We're not sure. The lighting guys can really elaborate on that. So he's not here today. So if he was here, maybe he was going to tell. But let's scratch out that because there's lighting there, which is standard.
Yeah,
But,
I think the sleeves and the photos, but
okay, let's remove sleeves. Photos, we always have someone who's doing photos there. I mean, sometimes the visual guys, they come with the guy who's gonna take pictures, but most of the people.
And also remember, are you bringing your own lighting engineer, or are you going to use the one from the venue?
Yeah, let's assume that we're using the one from the venue.
in light of the budget.
In light of the budget.
But I think we might need to relook at some things that we can do without it. But it's just that we're running out of time.
Yeah, we've
I would have said we would go back to the top and start seeing where we could cut corners and then and see where that leads us and how far we can get.
Yeah, let's assume. Okay, so let's put the photos aside, the sleeve design aside. Even though photos are always there because that person, they use them for let's say how much would be the photos? Because most of them I know they charge per hour.
TNT guy?
TNT is not here, but what, 10 grand? Because some people charge an hour, which is hours like 750, and sometimes we want them to come from sound check and all of that and all of that and all of that. So
so for 10 hours is 7,500 then.
Yeah, let's say 7.5 J for yeah. So we have 77,500 extra guys. We need to
now
cut
let's go back up.
Let's say now we are trying to beg the sponsor to wake up just to get out of the bed and go back to the car. But he's
so like I said, my first thing will be Lebo Morolo with his keyboards there.
And then here's that question. Here's that question. The follow-up question is why then all the time? Why all the time when there's no budget, you want to run back to the musicians and cut from them? Why don't you cut from your lighting? Why don't you cut from your
No, we are I'm starting from the top of the budget. I'm not necessarily running to them. It's just that they're on top of the budget. I could have started anyway.
So guys,
I'm still planning to talk to the backline company.
And really
especially because we are going to Yamaha and it has keyboards. So I'm just starting with the band because it's on top of the list.
Okay.
So I'll go from 4 to 3 on the band side.
So guys, do you see how I lose work now? You see? You see?
What did that do to the budget? Go all the way down. Let's see.
Well, it didn't do much. It just took
it did.
So you are 67.
The sponsor is still not interested.
Yes.
Adjust the rehearsal in light of the change.
Yeah.
Again, it didn't do much.
Cut down numbers of days.
No, not the days. The number of people. So if your rehearsal is $3,000, it's gonna be 2.7.
I think the first thing they will do is to cancel the visuals.
That would be a better idea.
That would be a better idea because we're trying to record a DVD here.
Go to on the rehearsal fees part. Change that 3,000 to 2.7.
To 2.7. Okay. Which then per person, how much are they getting now?
It's still the same amount. You just took out the payment you're gonna give to the second keyboard player. So it's for 9 people instead of for 10 people.
Okay. I'm left with 5 minutes, guys. Our time is up.
I couldn't cut rehearsals. Recording studio, singers studio.
I could cut down. I could maybe cut down the number of days for overdubs since everything is on click. Make sure that we just do the main important parts.
And
so
paste.
instead of and just cut, copy and paste, and do 2 days rather. Do everything in 2 days.
Yeah. And then
Marcelo says, "Let's pay the producer 10K, and then we'll see him after the after the show."
We'll see him when the album starts selling.
yeah, because we said nothing about the producer. We
Follow-up
said
question.
absolutely
Follow-up question. Why is the producer's money not moving?
Yeah, that's a very reasonable question.
Respond as if you guys is your production. Why is your money not going down when other people's
You know
money
what? You know what I would do, but what I would suggest actually doesn't help the budget to go down. It just helps you secure the quality. Because the lower you go with your from a producer perspective, the producer that you can get that's willing to take less than what's there might not have the full comprehensive experience to give you the best possible production. So I would say you can cut the producer's fee, but get a consulting producer like that. So if you have somebody who's still coming up, get somebody who's going to sort of supervise your production, a production consultant, if you will, to help you not just with the music part of it, but the overall integrity of your. Because once you go a certain place in your price ranking, already at that 30K, you are sitting at a very serious back foot, because there's a couple of producers that I know that you're not going to get for that 30K. Is married to so that kind of vibe. So yeah, I would say I would do that as a recommendation. But for now, you can just drop his fee. I don't know to what.
20K.
Yeah, try 20.
Okay. So that takes us to 248.
348. Yeah, so let's go to the back line, man.
Let's go to back line.
Yeah.
The artist must start putting in his own money here. Yeah,
out of his own pocket.
And again, guys, viewers at home, remember, we're just talking only production here. We're just talking the music production on the day. Yeah. We haven't even included marketing for this thing. We haven't talked about boosting your marketing on Facebook and all of that. Transport to do if radio interviews. We are just talking.
There's no launch. There's nothing. There's no printing. Launch, there's no printing of the actual CDs.
We are just talking you.
Yeah, and having
you achieving your dream is with the budget that you have, that you've saved up. So already
backline.
Yeah. Marcelo is suggesting we can cut FOH engineer to 8,000.
Okay, and then backline, I would say. I don't know. I haven't done anything at Yamaha in a while. The last time I did anything at Yamaha was when we were recording Nay's Mudumukeo album. Yeah. And that drum kit was not happening. They had some keyboards that we could access. There was a Ninja Mark bass there that was pretty decent. Yeah.
So we could negotiate and get few things and just get maybe a nice drum kit.
A nice kit, yeah.
A nice kit maybe. Okay.
Yeah, probably.
So let's move quickly. So they say what? You want to negotiate for 12? 13? 10?
Yeah, 10. Let's say 10.
Yeah, we're trying to save this guy. Regina Nkosi recording yako inzima ndoda. Raise 300. Raise above 300. Kabang siza urijana recording yake le. FOH, okay, audio tracking.
Hey, yeah, of course. I don't know. I wouldn't want to tamper with the tracking too much.
Because that's a sensitive part there.
That's the gig.
Why we are meeting. Yeah, that's the gig.
That's the reason why we're here.
We'll have to go back somewhere. We have to cut 34,500 somewhere. I don't know where we're going to cut. So then I think we'll have to go back to singers now. And
No, you can't cut it. They have to raise more money for it.
They
'Cause
must
if you
go
cut
raise
now,
money.
yeah.
This is the
No, they can't. They can't raise money. Yeah.
they change the date and then give themselves some time to raise money.
yeah, I think, guys, we'll have to postpone the show. We just have to postpone the recording.
Because
until
of
my
the
brother
4,000.
raises. Yeah, 34,000. He will have to raise at 34,000.
And just as a word of caution, don't hope that you can make the 34K with gate takings, because you might and you might not.
Actually, gate takings is not part of the conversation.
Yeah,
Gate takings have nothing to do with the recording night.
Yeah, just assume you're not going to make anything.
yeah.
And
Let's end it here, guys. Let's end it here, guys. The budget is not working. We failed to put
Postponing this show, guys.
postpone this gig. Promoter ibalekile akakaphuma ejardini. Promoter is still in his yard. But just a quick one, just before we close, Aaron. In this case, we have a 34,000. Let's just assume that we had a 350 budget. I'm just changing it, guys, quickly, just for Aaron to make his point. What happens to the issues of vets and whatnot? How are we looking here?
Okay, tell me, for example, who's paying who? The client, is he paying your company or is he paying the musicians directly?
Most of the time, you'd find that the client is the one that is depositing money to the producer. Most of the time, he would just pay for maybe the musicians and the rehearsals and studios. But obviously, service providers would have given their own invoices, and then we pay them direct because they've got this VAT and tax what. So
Yeah, because remember, whoever is registered for VAT will charge 15% of that amount.
Okay.
And then if you are not registered for VAT, you can't charge an extra 15% because you're not a VAT vendor.
Okay.
Yeah, but in terms of how it affects the producers and the musician, okay, this is how I worked it out. Let's say, because from your calculations, if I look the MD and the producer will end up with 28,000 in that month, right? That includes your performance fee and your overtime fee. So from that amount, say for example you don't have a company in this instance, and then it gets paid directly to your personal account. Then it means in that month you owe SARS 4,720.
Just
That's
that month.
Yeah, from the 28,000, you owe SARS 4,720. But remember, if you are operating like a sole proprietor, before this gets taxed from the 28,000, you still you are allowed to claim your transport fees, maybe any cost that relates to the production. Say for example, you've got 28,000. And then your transport, give me an example. What is your petrol amount in that month?
In that month or for this recording?
In that month for this recording. Let's just say this was your only gig. Yeah.
It's paid already in the rehearsal fees. So whatever the rehearsal fees
No, but if you're the producer, don't forget.
But remember, you still have other expenses like
to the mixing engineer, to the
telephones.
Yeah. So it's so I think your costs are probably the 8
so it's gonna be 28,000 less 3.5 and less what again?
Let's suppose it's less the 8 grand. It might work out to that.
Yeah, then you're out of your profit. Then maybe you decide to take 20,000 from as your profit. So you'll end up with income tax of that month of 2,580. So that's how it works.
Yeah. Okay, I think you still need to explain this, eh? It's to those that didn't get it.
Yeah, and then the singers, let's go to the singer.
This is quite key, eh?
Yeah, and the singers, they have a total of 13,000 in that month. So also in their case, obviously they'll have expenses. But you're saying they're getting paid on their rehearsal fee, which are included there. So they won't have any other expense. Say they don't have any other expenses, which means in that month they are liable to pay 1,093 rand 50 to SARS. So they'll end up with 11,000 as a net.
And I mean, if we are honest, guys, the 1,000 rands is really not a lot of money. You know, I think looking at how much you're taking home, this could save your life, because when they come for you, they really come for you. and you just failed to pay 1,000 rands out of the 13,000, right? Am I right by saying that?
Yeah. And then the band member, or is it the same amount? No.
They were somewhere there, obviously. They were
Yeah, it was somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay.
somewhere
So
in
same thing, same amount.
it just makes sense though. The point makes sense. So
But obviously, in your company, say you've got a company in that amount, obviously will pay to you how much? 335, né?
Yeah.
And then after you've paid everyone, how much is left on your account?
The 28,000.
Oh, the 28,000. Say you decide from that 28,000 to take maybe, for argument's sake, to take maybe 10,000 as your salary. So this is how it's going to change. It actually works out lesser, because if you take out 10,000, for example, on your personal tax, you'll be left with 9,346. And then the company, after the expenses, remember it's going to also be going to be left with 10,000. So the company will pay at year end, it will pay 28% of that, which is about
9,000.
Of that 10,000. Yeah, it's going to be like 2,800. So you see, you pay less tax in that way. And also, if your company has assets, you are still allowed to claim depreciation. Say, for example, you've got a car that you bought under your company's name for 100,000, for example. You at year end you claim the car is depreciated over 5 years. So 100,000 divided by 5 years is 20,000 per year, which means on your company side you'll have a 10,000 profit minus the 20,000, so you'll have a loss. So your company will not pay tax, and you will only pay 553 tax.
Okay, we still need this discussion clearly. I think we'll open it up nicely for season 2. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I think we thank you so much for coming through. Spotlight me. So we all agree that the gig has to be postponed. We can't afford the artist can't afford the gig. So he will have to go and raise that money. But again, there's other elements as well that Aaron was opening up in working on our taxes as well. So I think we still need to dig a bit deeper on this, but we'll arrange nicely. But thank you so much, and we're sorry that you are late. We are closing late, but the uNkulunkulu uzonibusisa bazalwane, uNkulunkulu uzovala i-lockdown iyaphela in a week's time. So we're going back to our lives, and then into njalo. So but thank you so much for coming through, and we will see you on Wednesday. Thanks to Okrio, LT Branding, Basilia, Crotchet. Thank you, Labs, Josie. Thank you. Let's meet on Wednesday, guys. Looking forward. Thank you.
Sure.